Los Angeles, the city of angels, the place where dreams take flight and sometimes crash into the pavement without warning. It was the morning of July 18th, 1989. Summer in Southern California has a particular stillness in the early hours. The heat hasn't yet risen, the traffic hasn't yet snarled, and in some neighborhoods you can almost believe the city sleeps. In a quiet, leafy street in West Hollywood, that stillness was suddenly shattered. One sharp, deafening sound, a gunshot, echoed between the buildings. A neighbor, startled from his morning routine, stepped outside to see what had happened. There, just a few yards away, a young woman stumbled, her body folding to the ground as though the life had been knocked out of her. In the distance, a man in a yellow shirt was running, not walking, not hurrying, but sprinting away, as if chased by something only he could see. The neighbor rushed to the fallen woman's side. Her breaths were shallow, her eyes wide with shock and disbelief. She managed just one word, soft, pained, and confused. Why? Within minutes, paramedics were loading her into an ambulance. By the time she reached Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, her pulse was fading. 30 minutes later, she was gone. Her name was Rebecca Schaeffer. She was just 21 years old, a rising Hollywood actress, a warm, grounded young woman from Oregon. And she was on the cusp of the role that could have made her a household name. Instead, she became the victim of one of Hollywood's most notorious stalker murders, and the man in the yellow shirt, he was someone she had never met before that day. This is the story of Rebecca Schaeffer. The bright light snuffed out too soon, the obsessive fan who believed he owned her, and how her death forced America to finally confront the hidden danger of stalking. Every great dream begins somewhere, but no one imagines their dream could one day turn into a nightmare. Rebecca Lucille Schaeffer was born on November 6, 1967, in Eugene, Oregon. She was the only child of Dana, a writer and instructor at Willamette University, and Benson, a child psychologist. The Schaeffers were a close-knit, devout Jewish family. They ate dinner together, they celebrated traditions together, and they nurtured Rebecca's curiosity about the world. From a young age, Rebecca stood out, not because she was the loudest in the room, but because she was effortlessly charismatic. She had a bright, engaging smile and a way of making people feel seen. She grew up in an environment that encouraged education and community. Initially, Rebecca had ambitions to become a rabbi, a goal rare for a teenage girl at the time. She was thoughtful, spiritual, and eager to connect with people. But she also loved performing. Whether it was singing in the school choir, participating in theater productions, or putting on little shows for family friends, Rebecca lit up when she had an audience. When the family moved to Portland, Rebecca's path began to shift. She discovered modeling. Local photographers took notice. Soon she was doing department store catalogs, local commercials, and photo shoots. She had the look, the poise, and the determination. And she had the support of her parents, who believed she could achieve anything she set her mind to. By 16, Rebecca's ambitions outgrew the Pacific Northwest. She wanted more, bigger shoots, bigger opportunities, bigger challenges. That's when she approached her parents with a bold request. Let her move to New York City to pursue modeling full-time. It wasn't an easy decision. She was still in high school. New York was a massive, intimidating city. But her parents saw her drive and decided to give their blessing, with the understanding that she would stay grounded and safe. And so, Rebecca stepped into the bustling streets of Manhattan, suitcase in hand, ready to carve her name into the world. The city promised opportunity, but it also came with its own kind of loneliness. In New York, Rebecca signed with Elite Model Management, one of the most prestigious agencies in the world. She shared a small apartment with other young models, all chasing the same dream. She learned quickly that the modeling world was as ruthless as it was glamorous. Long casting lines, constant rejections, and a level of scrutiny that could break even the most confident person. Rebecca had the talent, but there was one thing she couldn't change: her height. At 5'7", she was considered too short for high fashion. Some clients booked her, many passed her over. She made ends meet by taking smaller jobs, catalog shoots, commercials, anything to keep her portfolio growing. And in her free time, she began exploring acting classes. It was in these classes that Rebecca found something modeling never gave her: creative freedom. Acting allowed her to express emotions, tell stories, and connect with audiences in a deeper way. But the shift from modeling to acting didn't happen overnight. She kept grinding, sending out headshots, auditioning whenever possible. Then came the break that would change everything. Sometimes, all it takes is one image to change a life. In 1984, Rebecca landed the cover of 17 magazines. For teenage girls across America, 17 was a cultural touchstone. Being on that cover was a dream gig, and for Rebecca, it was the turning point. Television producers saw the issue and took notice of the fresh-faced young woman with the warm smile. Soon, Rebecca's agency got the call. She was wanted for an audition for a new sitcom called My Sister Sam. The show's premise was simple but heartwarming. A teenage girl named Patty Russell moves to San Francisco to live with her older sister after their parents die. It was funny, touching, and had the potential to be a hit. Rebecca auditioned, and her natural charm shone through. She didn't just play Patty, she became her. She got the role. And just like that, she went from a struggling model to a TV star. My Sister Sam debuted in 1986 and quickly found a loyal audience. Critics praised Rebecca's comedic timing and her on-screen chemistry with co-star Pam Dauber. The show climbed the ratings, breaking into the top 25 sitcoms of the time. Rebecca was living the dream: steady work, growing fame, and fans who adored her. She embraced it all, often replying personally to fan letters. She believed in kindness and gratitude, never imagining that one of those letters could come from someone dangerous. But it did. It looked harmless, but sometimes danger hides in plain sight. One afternoon, among the piles of fan letters addressed to Rebecca on the My Sister Sam set, there was one from a young man named Robert John Bardo. The letter was polite, almost sweet. He praised her acting, her kindness, her smile. It read like 1,000 other fan notes she'd received. There were no threats, no strange demands, just admiration. Rebecca, known for her generosity with fans, wrote back a simple thank you, a kind acknowledgement. It was one of the many replies she sent to fans who supported her. But for Robert, this wasn't just a reply. It was a connection. In his mind, it meant she had noticed him, chosen him, out of the thousands of people who wrote to her. And from that moment on, she wasn't just an actress on TV, she was his. To understand how dangerous this letter would become, you have to understand the man who sent it. Robert Bardo was born in 1970 in Tucson, Arizona, the youngest of 7 children. His childhood was shaped by chaos. His father, an alcoholic, was violent and abusive. His mother, overwhelmed, couldn't shield him from the constant tension. Robert's siblings, some of whom had also suffered abuse, often turned their anger on him. By the time he was in middle school, he had endured years of bullying and humiliation inside his own home. At 15, he was institutionalized for mental health issues, including bipolar disorder. When he returned home, he dropped out of high school, despite being an intelligent student with strata grades in earlier years. He drifted between low-wage jobs, working as a janitor, a fast food cook, but his inner world was increasingly dominated by fantasies, and those fantasies often revolved around women he'd never met. Before Rebecca, there was Samantha Smith, a child actress and peace activist, who had written a famous letter to the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Robert became fixated on her, traveling to Maine in an attempt to meet her. Police intervened. When Samantha died tragically in a plane crash in 1985, Robert's attention shifted. He began searching for someone new to idolize, someone who fit the image in his mind: young, beautiful, innocent. When My Sister Sam appeared on television, Robert thought he had found her. Some fans watch from afar, others try to step into the frame. Robert's obsession didn't stay on paper. He decided he had to meet Rebecca in person. He discovered she was filming at the Warner Bros. Lot in Burbank, California. The first time he showed up, he carried a teddy bear and flowers. Security stopped him before he could get anywhere near her. The second time, he came armed with a knife. Again, he was turned away. But Robert never caused a scene. He left quietly, which made him seem harmless to security. Rebecca never knew he had been there, never knew how close she'd come to danger. For a brief period, Robert's fixation faded. He turned his attention to other celebrities: Madonna, Debbie Gibson, but none of them filled the space Rebecca occupied in his mind. Then, in 1989, he saw her in the film scenes from The Class Struggle in Beverly Hills. There was a scene where her character was intimate with another actor. For most viewers, it was just part of the story. For Robert, it was a betrayal. It shattered the pure image he had built of her, and in his mind, it meant she had changed, not on screen, but in real life. That's when his obsession took a darker turn. When obsession turns to anger, the danger escalates. Robert decided Rebecca had to pay for what she had done in a fictional scene to him. He paid a private investigator in Tucson $250 to get her home address. Back then, it was shockingly easy. The investigator simply accessed California's DMV records and handed it over. Armed with her address, Robert got a .357 handgun from his brother, tucked it into a shopping bag, and boarded a Greyhound bus to Los Angeles. She thought it was the start of her biggest role. It was the end of her life. July 18, 1989, Rebecca was waiting for the delivery of the Godfather Part III script. She had a meeting with the director later that day, a meeting that could cement her place in Hollywood history. At 10:15 a.m., the doorbell rang. Rebecca went downstairs, expecting the courier. Instead, she saw a young man she didn't recognize, Robert. He showed her the autograph she'd once sent him. Rebecca, polite but firm, told him not to come back. Then she returned upstairs. Robert left, but he didn't go far. He walked to a diner, ordered breakfast, and sat there for an hour. Then, at 11:15 a.m., he returned to her apartment building. When Rebecca came down again, Robert recalled later that she looked cold and told him to hurry because she didn't have much time. He took this as an insult. He pulled the gun from his bag and shot her once in the chest. Neighbors heard her cry, "Why?" before collapsing. Robert ran, leaving her bleeding on the pavement. At 10:40 a.m., paramedics arrived. By 10:50 a.m., she was on her way to Cedars-Sinai. By 11 a.m., she was gone. He didn't hide, he unraveled. The very next day, Robert was seen in Tucson, running in and out of traffic, sobbing. When police stopped him, he confessed almost immediately. "I killed Rebecca Schaeffer." He thought his illness would protect him. The law thought otherwise. Robert's defense team argued that he was mentally ill, suffering from bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, and could not be held fully responsible. The prosecution countered with the facts. He had hired a PI, traveled to Los Angeles, brought a loaded gun, returned to her apartment after being told to leave. It was premeditation. In 1991, Robert John Bardo was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. One life lost. Laws changed forever. Rebecca's murder shocked Hollywood. Stars who once felt safe in their own homes realized how easily their privacy could be breached. In 1990, California passed the nation's first anti-stalking laws. In 1994, the Federal Driver's Privacy Protection Act made it illegal for DMVs to release personal addresses. A specialized LAPD threat management unit was created to protect public figures. Rebecca's boyfriend, director Brad Silberling, later made the film Moonlight Mile in her memory. Her My Sister Sam co-stars recorded a PSA against handgun violence. Rebecca Schaeffer was days away from her big break. Instead, she became the face of a movement to protect people from stalkers. Her death forced the law to change. But for her, those changes came too late. Rebecca's story is a reminder. Fame can open doors, but it can also let in danger. And sometimes, the most dangerous people are the ones who think they love you.